Good afternoon, everyone. It's almost right at 2 o'clock, courtroom 2. Just let me know when you're ready.
We're ready, Judge. It's position number 9, Ms. Madison.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ms. Madison. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0000182A with simple battery. Afternoon, Ms. Harvey. Is there a history?
Good afternoon, Judge. Yes, this is the first arrest. Defendant is recommended for UJR to the jail. Nothing further.
Who do we have on from, this is your case, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Let's see, who
Yeah.
do we have? Um, who's presenting for the state? You with us, Mr. P.O. Thomas?
I am with you, but I think we're just waiting on ASG Walker to join. I understand with the tornado, not tornado, hurricane. Yeah,
There he is.
tornado, yeah.
Mr. Walker, good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've been having some issues with my power and internet today.
Okay, I understand. You ready to proceed now? Are we good?
Yeah, what position are we in?
We're on position number 9, Ms. Lenora Madison, first arrest.
Okay. 1 second. So in this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 225 James P. Brawley. That's Hollis Academy. It's my understanding that the defendant is a paraprofessional or teacher's assistant at the or at the academy. She was observed by the school nurse assaulting the victim. He's a juvenile, so I will give his initials. It is JS. The state is asking for a $2,000 street bond, no contact with the juvenile JS, a stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
It's Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client denies the allegation. He was not hitting anybody. The warrant, he denies the allegation. Your Honor, my client is 53 years old, and she has to pass the exam to be certified as a paraprofessional. Your Honor, she has been working for Atlanta public school system for the last 3 years. She's never been arrested before. We would like to request for signature on bond through jail as recommended. Thanks. This happened on October 26th, Your Honor, and she's still going to school. She's still teaching. The parent did not complain anything about this. Nobody else was complaining. Thanks.
And it's James P. Brawley. Is that the school where she is?
I didn't get.
No, the school is Hollis Academy, and it's located on 225 James P. Brawley. And just for the record, the student is special needs and he's nonverbal. And I believe it was the school nurse who witnessed this and filled out the report.
Okay, so I guess my question was, is that where she is working at James P. Brawley?
Oh yeah, that's the school address, 225 James P. Brawley. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I don't want to restrict her from earning an income. So I guess I'm not gonna, if she's still working there and they're still allowing her to work there, I'm going to allow her to go there, but she can have no contact with the juvenile. So it will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further contact with the juvenile JS, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Madison.
Next, Your Honor, we're going to go to position number 12, Ms. Montgomery.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Montgomery. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 24 CR 000195E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor, 2 cycles. The last arrest was December 24th, 2023, out of Fulton County for simple battery family violence. That case is open under case number 23 CR 008231E. Defendant is currently on pretrial for that case, Your Honor, and we will be doing a bond hearing today. There is also an open case for intent to cheat or defraud a retailer and theft by taking under 22 CP 209456. Nothing further to add, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 566 Fletcher Street, where they spoke to the victim, Miss Kivana Williams. She advised that her grandmother was having a medical emergency, where the defendant was there at the location as well. The victim was trying to pass through the hallway in the home. The defendant was in the way. An argument ensued where the defendant grabbed a knife and scratched the victim with the knife. The state is asking for a no contact, a stay away, a $2,500 surety bond, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Ms. Williams is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 20 years old. She was born and raised here in Georgia. She has 2 jobs, working hard. She's rarely at home except sleeping at night. She works at Chick-fil-A and Amazon.com, and yet her income is not that high, so she's still qualified for public defender services. She graduated from high school, I believe PD. Tomisha Cook was representing her on December 26th, and she got no further violent contact from that case. My client denies the allegation. She did not want to come to the jail again, and she said there was no physical contact whatsoever. She resides at that location. Her sister does not reside there. We would like to request for a signature on bond one more time, Your Honor. Thank you.
So is Kivana Williams the alleged victim in the other case?
No, it was
She's a witness,
No.
but she is not a victim.
Okay. And the Fletcher Street address is,
I'm looking at the bond order. That address was not listed. And the 2 victims that are listed is a no further violent contact. I believe that those are other family members.
and what was the bond amount on the last one?
It's through pretrial services. The total amount is going to be a 5,000. It was 3,500 on the simple battery, 1,500. 3,500 on the simple battery family violence, and 1,500 on the simple battery. And that was given by Judge Law.
Okay, so for this case, it'll be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with Kivana Williams, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Ms. Montgomery.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 1, Mr. Ali.
Good afternoon, Mr. Alley. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Afternoon, everybody. Yes, I do.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 24 CR 000174G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
No, Your Honor, this is the first arrest. Defendant is recommended to UJR to the jail. Nothing further.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on December 18, 2023, the victim walked into the Zone 1 police precinct and advised that she had been assaulted by her boyfriend, the defendant, over the course of several days. Inside of the residence, which is located at 440 Woodland Avenue, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, Georgia, 30318, the victim advised that the defendant was upset with her about a plate of food and a blanket that was spoiled or soiled in the home. She advised that he was choking and beating her several times, starting from December 9th, 2003 to December 18th, 2003. The victim showed officers photos of the injuries to her legs, arms, chest, and wrists. The officer also was able to visibly see at that time visible injuries to her arms. The victim advised that she was ultimately, and I guess courageously, able to leave the home with her 5-year-old son and to go to a shelter to get away from the defendant. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim. The victim advised that her and the defendant had been in a relationship. They were living together at the incident location. They themselves share no children together. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that he choked her on December 9th over a plate of food, as I stated. She stated the defendant placed her in a headlock on December 16th over a blanket. She also stated that she was not able to breathe and felt like she was going to pass out. She stated that her vision was gone and she was not able to see, and that she began to see stars, that she believed that she was, I guess ultimately she was strangled. The victim stated that on December 19th, her and the defendant got into yet another argument. Where she told him she was going to report the abuse to the police. The victim stated that once she told the defendant that, he threatened to kill her. The victim stated that they have been living together since this incident, and the reason why he got arrested last night was because the police were called again due to the altercation. The victim stated that she does not want contact with the defendant. She wants him to stay away from the residence, and she states that that he might need a one-time law enforcement return to retrieve his items. Given the severity of everything, and our office is currently seeking to have the charges upgraded, but given the severity of everything, the state believes the appropriate bond to be set is nothing less than $5,000 surety, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, but for that one-time escort, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And the victim's name in this case is Naeemah, Nyeemah, Harris, traditional spelling. And if we could sign for her in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
And I don't know if you mean to be or not, Mr. Pierre Thomas, but you're not on camera. So I just wanted to let you know. If Miss Nyeemah Harris is with us and would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Ty.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. As you heard, my client has absolutely no criminal history. This is his very first arrest. He's 29 years old. He is the father of 2 children, none of a complaining witness. He has lived in Georgia for over 6 years. He is absolutely fine with a no further contact and a stay away. He does need the one-time law enforcement escort. He denies the allegations and states that the story is completely fabricated. I won't say anything else about it. The complaining witness would be here, I think, if it was as the state is claiming. But he does deny the allegations, and I'm going to ask for a signature bond through the jail.
I just want to notate that I do believe that there's someone on by the name of Nye's phone that may be the complaining witness. And so if the allegation is that because the complaining witness is not here, then somehow the story is false or fabricated, I don't believe that to be true.
Okay.
I thought we
I am
sounded-
here as well.
Okay.
I
so-
do not want to give a statement, but I am here.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harris. All right, so it's going to be Mr. Ali, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. So I would suggest that if you need some clarification or want to ask Mr. Ty a question, I'll allow you to do that. But you might not want to speak in open court. Okay. I'm going to give you a signature bond, a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. 1 day anger awareness. The pretrial bond is going to be level 1. No further contact with Ms. Harris. Stay away from the Woodland Avenue address. You can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that you might have there, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 2. Mr. Banks. Hey, on this way. On this way. He finished? Yeah, he's finished. Come on.
Good afternoon, Mr. Banks. I'm Judge Eric Morrow.
Good
I'm doing well. Good afternoon, sir. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're completing by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Banks, you've been charged in case 24 CR 0000176J with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 18 cycles. Last arrest September 13th, 2023, out of DeKalb County for theft by taking. No disposition was listed. Conviction from 2014, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 2016, robbery. 2018, aggravated assault out of Tatnall County. Defendant received 10 years probation for that case and also received probation in 2020 for aggravated assaults for 4 years. At least 4 probation violations in the past 10 years, recommendations at level 3, and nothing further to add.
Brief facts of the case, Your Honor, is that on January 8th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to 6125 Cedarwood Drive in South Fulton in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to an aggravated battery. The officer spoke with the victim being Charles Banks, traditional spelling, who advised that he was beat up by his nephew, the defendant. The victim was very distraught while speaking to the officer and could not advise how the altercation transpired. The victim only stated that his nephew beat him up and drug him on the ground. While speaking with the victim, the officer observed 2 deep lacerations to the right side of his face and deep lacerations to the right elbow and right knuckles. The victim's right eye was also swollen shut, making it extremely difficult for him to see out of it. The victim was evaluated by Grady, and ultimately the decision was made to transport him to Southern Regional Hospital. The officer spoke with the defendant, who advised that he began a verbal dispute over the care of his grandmother, who they share as a relative. The officer made contact with the grandmother, Ms. Florence Banks, who advised that she witnessed the incident and is the homeowner of the location. Our office has actually been able to get in contact with the grandmother because she advised that when she answered the phone, she stated that the victim is actually in the hospital still with a cracked rib, and his eyes are still swollen shut. She stated that the defendant started to argue with the victim, and the victim never actually argued back with the defendant. She stated that the defendant began to hit the victim, and at no point did the victim hit him back. She stated that neither of them lived with her at the incident location, but they frequently come over. I just want to walk the court a little bit through the history. Again, he has the 2004 armed robbery. He has a 2014 conviction. He has a 2016 robbery conviction. He has a 2017 aggravated assault conviction where he received the 10 years probation. He would have violated that probation here. He has a 2020 battery, family violence, and firearms charge where he received 6 years suspended. He would have violated that probation here. Another 2020 aggravated assault, and again, firearms, where he received 1 year confinement and 4 years probation. He would have violated that probation. So that's 3 separate probations. In addition to those probations, he has a flurry of probation violations and revocations. And so because of that, and because of the nature of these charges, we ultimately may seek to have this upgraded to an aggravated battery. The request from the state is a $10,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact. The state will forego the stay away as that is the incident of the grandmother's location. It's my understanding that he possibly provides assistance at times. And the completion of an anger management course. And I understand that he's in the hospital, but if we could sound from Mr. Banks just in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated, Your Honor.
If Mr. Banks is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 40 years old. He has, as Mr. Thomas stated, been responsible for the care of his elderly grandmother. When I spoke with her, she did say that she would be fine with him returning to the home. My client does deny the allegations, and the warrant states that the complaining witness approached him in a way that would have made him fear for his own safety. He does have an upcoming surgery. He has a bone deteriorating condition, so I would ask for a signature on bond through pretrial services, level 3, as that's what he's recommended for, so that he can make the pre-op appointments and have the surgery that he needs.
Your Honor, I just state that the warrant states that the defendant gave a self-serving statement. And it's the state's position that not only is he a danger to the victim in this case, but if he'd do that to his own family, what would he do to the public, and given his previous history? And so we think he's a danger to the victim in this case and a danger to the public as well. And so we just stand firm on that recommendation.
Well,
gonna
I don't
be,
think the warrant states that he made a self-serving statement, but okay.
The warrant states that he stated that. So it didn't state that anyone other than him stated that the victim approached him aggressively. And the warrant also states, in addition to the grandmother stating that at no point was the victim aggressive in any way. And I think his history kind of speaks on the violence.
it's gonna be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Charles Banks, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Banks.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 5, Gerald Collins.
Good afternoon, Mr. Collins. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're completing by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Collins, you've been charged in case 24 CR 0000177Y with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
No, Your Honor, this is the first arrest. Recommendation is level 1. Nothing further.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on July 24, 2003, the officer was dispatched to 505 Fulton Avenue on a dispute call. The officer spoke with the victim, who stated that her biological brother, the defendant, started to get into a verbal dispute with her over a sink. The victim stated that she told the defendant not to turn on the faucet because it was leaking, at which point he became irate, grabbed a broomstick, and started to beat the victim. The victim stated that she kept telling him to stop, but he did not. The officer was able to observe to her right arm whelps and a scratch to her knee. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim. She confirmed that that is her brother. They do not live together. The victim stated that the incident location is her residence. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She states that nothing like this has ever happened before. She states that the defendant and her have had no violence since the incident. The victim in this case's name is Jessica Banks Collins. So if we can sound from Ms. Banks Collins at the conclusion of the state's request. But given the limited history, Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no violent contact, and the completion of an anger management course.
Let's see if Ms. Jessica Banks Collins is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so.
I'm here.
Okay, Ms. Banks, I'll need for you to activate your camera for me.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the test of the other hand? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Ms. Banks, what would you like to tell the court?
That ever since the incident, me and my brother had contact. There has never been no violence. Like I know he's my baby brother, and now that this whole thing just went a little too far and just got out of hand. It was never supposed to happen. And I didn't call the police. Somebody next door did. So this whole thing just went a little too far.
Okay, so you've been around each other since July,
Yes, sir.
and you're not afraid of him,
No, sir.
and it's never happened before?
Mm-mm. The whole thing just went a little too far.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Banks.
You're welcome.
Yes, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 22 years old with no criminal history. He is employed full-time at the airport. He does deny the allegations, and I was able to speak with the complaining witness. She did state that a neighbor called 911 and that this whole thing is a misunderstanding. They have gotten along fine since July, so I am requesting, in light of the statement of the complaining witness and the fact that he has no criminal history, a signature on bond through the jail, and I would object to any kind of anger management course.
It will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Miss Jessica Banks, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Collins. You also, Ms. Banks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, Your Honor, I'm gonna go to position number 4, Mr. Alan Scott Brown.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, you've been charged in case 24 CR 0000175C with battery, disorderly conduct, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
2 cycles, Your Honor. The last arrest was January 22nd, 2023 for a DUI with the Brookhaven Police Department. That case was transferred to state court. No final disposition was listed. There's also a 2022 conviction out of Henry County for DUI. Recommendation is a level 2 and nothing further to add.
Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, one moment. I want to make sure this is not a co-defendant case. I do believe this is a co-defendant case. Is the co-defendant on? He would be last name Prowell. Was he on the pull sheet today?
He was.
Okay. I can start with the facts if you like. Is he available?
Okay, he's position number 14, Junius Prowell. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. McLeod, do you represent one of them?
I represent Mr. Powell, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, so they're there. I can do them both at the same time. Let me address Mr. Prowell. Good afternoon, Mr. Prowell. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0000189C with battery and disorderly conduct. Is there a history for Mr. Prowell, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 10 cycles, multi-state offender with arrests out of Georgia, Minnesota, and Iowa. Last arrest was out of Minnesota for burglary, November 9th, 2023. No disposition was listed. 2017 conviction for possession of a controlled substance. 2023 conviction, driving while under the influence. 2012 conviction for theft by shoplifting, and received first offender in 2014. Carrying a weapon in a school zone. That case was sealed in 2019. Recommendation is a level 3, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Your Honor, facts of the case is that on January 8, 2004, the officer responded to 54950 National Highway, South Fulton, 30349, which I believe is Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar, in reference to a fight. The officer observed an unidentified black male on the ground outside of the business establishment, which is that Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar, actively resisting arrest. The male suspect failed to comply with the verbal commands and attempted to position both of his arms to the front of his body. The male suspect had one handcuff on the left wrist and refused to keep both arms behind him. Sergeant L. Carter and 2 other officers had to physically grab the subject and hold his hands behind him to secure the handcuffs. The male subject was identified as Junius Prowell. After speaking with Sergeant Carter about the incident, Sergeant Carter stated that he observed an active fight that occurred in the parking lot involving the 2 who just so happened, I believe, be brothers. The other individual was identified as the defendant in one of the cases, which is Alan Brown. The sergeant stated that he intervened and observed the wrestling and instructed Prowell and Brown that they were not authorized to enter the business due to their disruptive behavior. Sergeant Carter stated that Mr. Prowell became disorderly and acted in a violent and tumultuous manner towards other individuals outside the parking lot. Brown and Prowell both began to shout expletives towards individuals as they were being escorted to different patrol cars. Sergeant Carter stated that as he attempted to detain Prowell, he grabbed him by the arm and attempted to place his hand behind his back, at which point Brown attacked him by jumping over Prowell and struck him in the upper chest and face area. Sergeant stated that he was punched in the face with a closed fist and struck by Prowell and Brown. Another officer observed on Sergeant Carter to have bruises to his mouth and a laceration to his top lip. Your Honor, the recommendation as it relates to this is a $2,000 as it relates to Brown, as is a $2,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a stay away from that Harold's Chicken, an ice bar location, and the completion of an anger management course.
Okay. And how is that broken down?
That would be broken down. That is correct. That would be broken down 1,000 on the battery and 500 on the remaining 2 charges.
Okay. Before I go on, who's ever on the TCL T430, ma'am, TCL. If you're on the TCL, ma'am, that's walking around, can we deactivate her camera? Is that possible? Thank you. Let's see, who represents Mr. Brown?
I do.
Okay, you can proceed, Mr. Tyre.
Okay, Your Honor. My client is a 26-year-old high school graduate. He's lived in Georgia all his life. As you heard, he has no violent history. He just has 2 DUIs, one of which I think is open, but absolutely no violent history. He does deny the allegations. He is recommended a UJR level 2. So I would ask for a signature on bond through pretrial services level 2 and nothing further.
Okay, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 on each charge, which makes it a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, stay away from the Harold's Chicken and ice, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. No further violent contact with Mr. Powell.
And Your Honor, the recommendation is the same for the co-defendant Prowl as well.
Okay, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. We have no objection to the state's recommendation for bond.
Well, just to be clear, the recommendation is the surety bond, not the same bond that the judge ordered for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew.
Your Honor, just given the nature of the allegations, I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. He is 30 years old. He is the father of 4 minor children who live with him, all 4 of them.
Okay. For each charge, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3, 1-day anger awareness, stay away from the Harold's Chicken and ice, and no further violent contact with Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Powell, Mr. Brown, good luck to you both.
Judge, what level was Crowell?
Yeah.
He was level 3,
Okay.
Brown was level 2.
And what was Crowell's bond amount? I didn't get that one, Judge, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. It's $1,000 on each, so a $2,000 total signature bond through pretrial.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we're gonna go to position number 6, Mr. Flowers.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Flowers. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. Mr. Flowers, you've been charged in case 24 CR 0000178A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 12 total cycles with arrests out of Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, and Mississippi. Last arrest was out of Clayton County, March 6, 2023 for battery family violence, theft by taking, and simple battery. There was a conviction as of July 6, 2023. Defendant received 12 months probation. It's also a 2011 aggravated burglary. Defendant is recommended at level 3 and nothing further.
Yeah, and a brief facts of the case is that on July 8, 2024, the officer was dispatched to 2135 Godby Road The unit was located above the 556 unit in Building 42. The officer arrived and heard himself screaming coming from the unit. The officer stood outside the unit to listen to a verbal dispute. After a few minutes passed, the officers knocked on the door, heard commotion inside or movement inside of the apartment. However, no one answered the door. The officer knocked several times after that, at which point a neighbor informed them that she had heard a woman screaming from inside for help. At which time one of the officers began to attempt to kick down the door due to the information that they received in the totality of the circumstances. The defendant eventually opened the door. The officer made contact with the victim, who stated that the defendant was her live-in boyfriend and that they were in a verbal dispute about her not taking him to the subway. She stated that the altercation turned physical when her live-in boyfriend hit her with the box spring, pushed her onto the ground, and then began to drag her by her hair throughout the house. The officer himself observed lacerations to the right shoulder of the victim. While on the way to the station, the defendant advised the officer that he had just gotten out of Clayton County for the same thing. That Clayton County arrest did ultimately end in a 2023 conviction for battery family violence. So the case will be sought to be upgraded as a second subsequent felony. But the recommendation from the state at this time is a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case. Julia Robinson, we have not been able to get in contact with her, so if we could sound for her in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. A stay away from that Godby location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
If Ms. Robinson is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Atai?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 36 years old. He has 3 children with the complaining witness. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He's recommended UJR level 3, so I would ask for a signature on bond through pretrial services level 3. Nothing further.
Okay. It's going to be a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Julia Robinson. Stay away from the Godby Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Flowers.
Next is going to be position number 15, Mr. Tevin Scott.
Good afternoon, Mr. Scott. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Scott, you've been charged in case 24 CR 000190A with theft by taking. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
First arrest, Judge, recommended for UJR to the jail. Nothing further.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Sean. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1032 Research Atlanta Center Drive, which is the Home Depot. The defendant was cited for theft by taking. It's alleged that he stole 3 Nest thermostats. The state is seeking a signature bond through pretrial services, a stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Ms. Kim, if it's okay with you, it'll be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Home Depot on Research Center Drive, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you.
Next, Your Honor,
Yes.
we're going to go to position number 17, Mr. Weems.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. Mr. Williams, you've been charged in case 24 CR 000212J with driving while your license was suspended or revoked, giving false information to law enforcement, and failure to obey a stop sign. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
10 Cycles, last arrest December 11th, 2022, out of Atlanta for driving on a suspended or revoked license. Conviction for that case, the conviction date for that case was January 30th, 2023, where defendant received 12 months probation. 2009 conviction for possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and a 2013 conviction for driving on a suspended license. Recommendation is a level 1 through trial, and nothing further.
On a brief facts of the case is that on January 8, 2024, the officer conducted the traffic stop on the white Dodge Ram due to the driver running the stop sign at the location of 201 Murray Avenue, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia. Once the vehicle was stopped, the officer approached the defendant, informed him of the reason behind the stop, and requested the license. The defendant informed him that he did not have a license on him, and he gave the name of Martavius Forts with a date of birth of looks like October 2nd, 2001. Ultimately, that came back as false, and it was discovered that his license was suspended. Given the idea that he was on probation for, or he is currently on probation for the exact same charge, and then there's another conviction. The recommendation from the state is a $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving without a valid license. Nothing further to add from the state.
Ms. Kim, if agreeable with you, for the driving while license suspended, $1,000 SOB through the jail, false information, $500 SOB through the jail, failure to obey stop sign, $500 SOB through the jail, makes for a total of a $2,000 SOB through the jail, no driving without a valid license, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck. Good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 7, Mr. Deontay Hornady. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hornady. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0000179H with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
One prior arrest, Your Honor, from 2011 out of Cobb County for battery. That case was dismissed. Defendant is recommended for a UJR to the jail. Nothing further to add.
Kind of brief facts of the case is that on January 8, 2024, the officer was dispatched and responded to the Aerotropolis apartments located at the address of 3640 South Fulton Avenue, apartment 1217 in Hateville in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to a physical domestic dispute. When the officers arrived, they observed the victim as having blood running down the side of both sides of his face. The defendant stated that he and the victim had been involved in a verbal argument. The victim stated that he attempted to enter the bathroom to speak with the defendant. That's when as he was attempting to enter the doorway, the defendant slammed his head between the door and the door frame multiple times, causing bleeding lacerations to both sides of his face. The officer was also able to observe knots on the victim's forehead. It was also determined that the victim and the defendant have lived together in that apartment for about a year, and that they have been in a romantic relationship for the past 4 years. Our office has not been able to get in contact with the victim listed as Willie, Willie Jones, traditional spelling. But the recommendation, given the limited criminal history, Your Honor, is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if we could sound from Mr. Jones in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
If Mr. Willie Jones is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. And I see you there, Mr. Jones. Do you wish to address the court? If you do, you'll have to unmute yourself. You don't have to address the court if you don't choose to, but if you do, you'll need to unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in.
Okay.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, sir? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Well, the incident did get out of hand. I am not afraid of Deontay, and I don't have a problem with him returning back to the home.
Has this ever happened before?
No.
Okay, and All right, thank you, Mr. Jones. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
You're welcome. Thank
Mrs.
you.
Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 37 years old. He has no history other than the 2011 case, which was dismissed. And I was able to speak with the complaining witness. And as you heard, he's not afraid. He does want contact, and he's fine with my client returning to the home. My client does deny the allegations. He works full-time as a CNA at a nursing home. And he financially supports his mother and two brothers, who are disabled. They suffer from severe autism and need full-time care. Because he has virtually no history, I would ask for a signature on bond through the jail, and I would object to the family violence intervention program, and of course, a stay away and no further contact. I would say he should be able to return to the incident location and have no further violent contact with the complaining witness. And nothing further.
It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Willie Jones, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hornady. You also, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, Your Honor, we're going to go to position number 8, Mr. Ronald Lee.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Lee. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Lee, you've been charged in case 24 CR 0000180F with obstruction of a law enforcement officer, driving while your license was suspended or revoked, and possession and use of drug-related objects. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
49 cycles. Last arrest April 1st, 2022 out of Atlanta for driving on a suspended license. No disposition was listed. 2021 conviction for theft by shoplifting out of Fayette County. Defendant received 8 years probation for that case. 2016 conviction for theft by shoplifting and simple battery. 2011 theft by shoplifting. 2010 theft by shoplifting. 2008 possession of a Schedule I controlled substance. Also 2008 theft by shoplifting. 2002 burglary. 96 burglary. At least 4 probation violations in the history. 1 FTA. Defendant is recommended a level 3. Nothing further.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that the officer conducted a traffic stop on a suspicious U-Haul as it had been involved in several residential burglaries in the area. While trying to make contact with the driver, who was the defendant, the defendant proceeded to exit the driver's seat of the vehicle and ran away to the backyard of a residence before being placed into custody. Your Honor, the rationale for the state's recommendation is just purely the 50 cycles, the 2019 arrests in Peachtree City for the same thing, the 2022 arrests in Atlanta for the same thing. So the state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Lee, is 58 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He has an adult daughter here, and Your Honor, he has odd jobs here and there. He was helping his sister move at the day, and he does not have enough income as of now. So he is qualified for public defender services, and if he gets any bond, Your Honor, 5,000, he will be in jail for a long time since no one is able to pay for that right now for him. He graduated from high school. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 3 as recommended. Thank you.
Okay. For each of the charges, it will be a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. No driving without a valid license, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Next, Your Honor, position number 10, Mr. McCrory. Position number 10.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. McCrory. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. McCrory, you've been charged in case 24CR0000188Y with battery, family violence, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 38 cycles. Last arrest November 18th, 2023, out of Atlanta for possession of a Schedule 1 controlled substance and crossing the guard lines. It's currently on currently on pretrial for that case, Your Honor, and we will be doing a bond hearing today. There's also an additional open case for possession of cocaine with intent to distribute and driving on a suspended license under 23 CP 222294. 2019 conviction for driving on a suspended license. 2009 possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of tools for commission of a crime and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 2007 theft by receiving stolen property. 2003 purchase, possession, control of drugs, giving false name, address, or birthday to law enforcement officer. Defendant is recommended at level 3. In addition, there does appear to be a probation violation hold as well. Nothing further.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 3018 Middleton Road, where they met with the victim, Ms. Vonda Stanley. She advised that her and the defendant, who they're in a relationship and live at that location, were engaged in a disagreement. He asked for his cell phone back after she tossed it to him. It landed on his chest. That angered the defendant, if you will. At that time, he did punch her in the face several times. The officer did observe swelling and bruising to the face of Ms. Stanley. And we have had contact with Ms. Stanley. She is on the line. It's my understanding that she expressed this is not the first time that they've had a domestic violence incident. The state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond to the 1 count of battery, family violence. To the count of marijuana, we're asking for an SOB through the jail. No contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. Of course, we assign for the victim, Ms. Vonda Stanley.
Ms. Stanley, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in if you would like to speak. Okay, Ms. Stanley, I'm giving you the opportunity to speak. Given that you have not done so, I'll take it that you do not wish to this afternoon, which is fine. Yes, Ms. McLeod. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My
Okay.
client is 8 years old. He shares 2 adult children with the complaining witness, so they have been in a relationship for more than 20 years, approximately 23 years was what he told me. He denies the allegations, Your Honor. He said that he had been sleeping and the alleged victim went through his phone and she became angry because she saw something in there that she did not like. So she attacked him. I would ask that the recommendation, he's recommended for a UJR at level 3, I believe I heard, Your Honor. And also, even though he does have fairly extensive history, I don't hear anything violent in his history.
Okay. It will be $1,000 good bond for the battery, family violence, $1,000 signature bond through the jail for the possession of marijuana. So it's a split bond. No further contact with Ms. Stanley. Stay away from the incident location. He can go back to that location on 1 occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Mr. McCrory.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon, Ms. McLeod. Good to see you as always.
Thank you.
Next order is going to be position number 16, Mr. Vasquez, Louis Vasquez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vasquez. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Good afternoon. You've been charged in case 24CR000181D with giving false information to law enforcement. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
6 cycles, Your Honor. The last arrest was June 10th, 2023, for driving without a valid license. That was a conviction. There are also 2 prior convictions for driving on a suspended license, 2017 and 2011. Recommendation is a level 1. Nothing further to add.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Econo Hotel located at 995 Old Dogwood Road due to occupant at that location threatening other people staying at the hotel. Upon making contact with the defendant, he provided the name of Joseph Vasquez. Upon doing a search, they determined that was not the accurate name of the defendant. The state is seeking a signature bond through pretrial services, and we're requesting a stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
What's the signature bond?
Does he need to go back to that Econo Hotel for anything, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, just one time to retrieve his personal belongings.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Econo Hotel on Dogwood Road. He can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Vasquez.
Hey, stop, hey, cut one more time. Don't do that. Come on. Come on. Okay, Your Honor, this is position number 13, Mr. Pearson. Courtroom is clear.
Okay, thank you. What happened to position number 11, Emerald Miller?
She's en route, Your Honor. She's en route.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Pearson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0000196H with 1 misdemeanor offense. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 26 cycles. Last arrest was June 23rd, 2023, out of DeKalb County for FTA. 2014 conviction for simple battery and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 2009 disorderly conduct and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 2009 driving on a suspended license. 2008 possession of marijuana less than an ounce. 2006 giving false name to a law enforcement officer, and a 2004 battery conviction. Recommendation is a level 3, Your Honor. Nothing further to add.
Mr.
Yes,
Walker?
Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 2285 Metropolitan Parkway, where they met with the victim, Ms. Shamel Joyner. She advised that she was in her vehicle when I believe somebody who was staying with a neighbor at that location was assisting her with her key fob. As she reached into her back seat, the defendant reached into the car and reached under her dress and grabbed her by the vagina. She did report this incident and a warrant was taken out. The state is seeking a $2,500 surety bond, no contact with Ms. Shamel Joyner, a stay away from that incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And I believe Ms. Joyner is on the line, so we would sound for her, please.
Ms. Joyner, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I will need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Of course, you do not have to address the court, but if you'd like to, now is your opportunity. Okay, Ms. Kim, it doesn't appear that Ms. Joyner would like to address the court. Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry,
here she is.
Judge.
Oh,
I
okay.
would,
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me, ma'am?
yes,
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Basically, this gentleman, for him to do what he did, I'm afraid that he would do it again if he haven't, already. I had forewarned his mother, who he was on at 2285 Metropolitan living with at the time, that her son was being inappropriate. He was saying inappropriate things and was giving her opportunity to try to give fix. Now, I had a lot of attitude come my way about this incident, and I don't understand because this man violated me in an ultimate disrespect way. Like, I literally turned my head to place my purse on the back seat, and he reached his hand in my car and touched my vagina. So if he did it to me so comfortably like that, I'm sure he would do it to somebody else. So I'm real comfortable with saying that he's a menace.
Your Honor, may we please stop the YouTube live? I should have asked earlier.
Okay, well, I think we're pretty much done, Miss Kim. Thank you for being here, Miss Joyner. Well, the court appreciates it. Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead, Miss Kim.
Yes, my client is 44 years old. Ever since this happened on November 23, 2023, he has not had any contact with Miss Shamel Joyner, and he actually moved out from that apartment complex. He has a new place, so he's completely okay with no further contact and stay away from that incident location. My client still denies the allegations, Your Honor. He has a job. He works at Burger King. He does not, however, he's still qualified for public defender services since he has to support two minor children who are only 6 and 9 years old. And as you can see, he has a very hard time to even walk. He has a doctor's appointment on January 11 and another doctor's appointment at Grady at January 12 to take care of his needs for his foot so he can walk. We would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 3. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but this is on film. We have 32 cameras on the property, and yes, it's actually on film.
Okay, Miss
So
Joyner, Miss
not
Joyner, this is
alleged.
well, Miss Joyner, this is only a bond hearing this afternoon. This isn't any type of adjudication. So everyone will have their day in court to address these charges at a later date. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. As such, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Miss Joyner. Stay away from the Metropolitan Parkway apartments. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Miss Joyner. You also, Mr. Pearson.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for position number 11.
Okay, so why don't we go to the waiver, position number 3. Abdul Brinson, who was charged in case 24 CR 0000211C with criminal trespass. Is there a history on that case, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. Multi-state offender with 52 cycles. The last arrest was out of Florida, January 22nd, 2023 for a probation violation. Convictions, 2021 bodily assault, 2020 conviction for theft, 2015 terroristic threats, 2012 theft of services, 2010 battery, 2007 assault, 2006 simple assault, 2004 possession of cocaine. Defendant is recommended at level 3, 1 FTA and 1 probation violation from 2022. Nothing further.
State. Mr. Walker, Mr. Pierre Thomas.
I'll look it up. I think it's Mr. Thomas's case, but give me 1 second, Your Honor.
What's the position again? What's the name?
Position 3, Brinson.
1 moment, Your Honor. I thought all my cases were. 1 moment. My apologies, John. I thought this was accepted into PAD. Is that not the case?
He was referred to PAD. They weren't able to interview him today.
Okay. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services. Brief facts of the case is 1 moment. It's alleged that he entered into a business, one moment,
The quick trip.
the quick trip, yeah, after having received a prior warning. The recommendation is the same. The recommendation is a signature bond to the pretrial services. Stay away from that location. That location is 630 10th Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, which is the quick trip. And no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Okay, so for Gribble the Humans, a tie, $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the quick trip on 10th Street, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and you'll have someone from PAD will interview him. Is that correct? Yeah, no.
I think it's too late for that now, but I'm not sure. I think that he just missed the person from PAD who was there and they didn't have time to interview him today. But I don't know, maybe Miss Umberger has something.
I don't think it was a matter of good morning. I'm sorry, you can go ahead. I don't think it was a matter of not having time. But Ms. Umberger can speak to it.
Yes, Your Honor. When I went today to go interview the participants that had been suggested to us, I was told that he had waived his right to something or another, and they had housed him in a different area. And due to the staff shortage, they weren't able to connect me with him.
All right. Well, I've given him a signature bond through the jail. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. While we wait on this last person, Ms. Champion,
Your Honor,
yes.
I was just informed that she did not want to come back down to go to court. She was in felony court earlier. I guess she just didn't want to come back down and come to misdemeanor court. If you want, I can try to go get the cell phone, jail court's iPhone, and go up there myself, but it's gonna take a few minutes.
Whose case is this, Miss? This is position number 11, Emerald Miller, who represents Miss Miller. Has anyone spoken with Miss Miller?
I think she's a conflict, so I believe it's supposed to be Miss McLeod.
Okay, I've dismissed Miss McLeod. Is there gonna be a issue as far as when, with having her here tomorrow?
No, I can bring it tomorrow, or I can take the iPhone up to her tomorrow.
Well, she doesn't have her attorney's not on the line, and I don't know if Miss McLeod has even interviewed her. Is there a Riverside issue, Mr. Walker?
I have to check, Your Honor, and just so the court is aware the victim is on the line, but I'll check to see when this person was arrested.
Your Honor, let me file and see if she can come back on, and I'm going up there with the iPhone. I'm gonna take care of this.
Okay, all right. All right, so while we're doing that, Ms. Champion.
This Ms. Bridgewater, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Bridgewater. I had Ms. Champion this morning, excuse me. Ms. Bridgewater, whenever you're ready. It's been a long day.
I know it has. Let me hurry up and get through this for you. Okay, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is January the 23rd. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 2 is going to that SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. 3, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 4, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 5, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. 7, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 8 is being reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 9, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 10 is going to the SAP calendar as it has a $2,000 split bond. 11, we're holding on. 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 13, SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 14, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pre-trial. 15, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 16, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. And 17 is being reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Okay. Court will be in recess, I guess, until Officer Norris comes back, or we can move on with the last one.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, what did we say about Ms. McLeod? Was somebody reaching out to her?
I think Officer Norris was going to reach out to her, but if someone has her number and can give her a call, that would be appreciated also.
I'll try to reach out to her, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. Okay, so we'll be in recess until.
And I believe, I don't mean to interrupt. I believe that concludes my business with the court. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon, Mr. Pierre Thomas. Anyone else who is not involved in the last case is free to go also if you choose.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, y'all have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we ready with Ms. Emerald Miller, number 11.
Thank you for coming back, Ms. McLeod. Have you had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Miller?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Miller. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Miller, you've been charged in case 24 CR 000210G with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
9 cycles. The last arrest was March 6, 2022 out of Richmond County for criminal trespass. No disposition was listed. 2015 conviction out of Richmond County for criminal damage to property in the second degree and aggravated assault. Defendant received 20 years probation on that aggravated assault, Your Honor. 2003 conviction for armed robbery and a 2002 simple battery. There is a hold out of Richmond County, an additional open case out of Fulton County for criminal damage to property in the second degree under case number 24 PI 000204. Recommendation is for level 3, Your Honor. Nothing further to add.
Walker. You're on mute, Mr. Walker. Ian.
Sorry. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to Emory Hospital at 550 Peachtree Street, where they met with the victim, Ms. Amber Mason. From my understanding, Ms. Mason is a staff member at the hospital. The defendant was a patient. The patient had placed her urine sample cup in the hallway. Ms. Mason asked her to remove it from the hallway. At that time, the defendant became physical and attacked Ms. Mason. The state is seeking a signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with the victim, only to return to Emory Hospital unless seeking treatment. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. And we will sound from Ms. Mason, who is on the line.
Ms. Mason, if you're on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, I need for you to unmute yourself, Ms. Mason.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to say I don't know what the decision is going to be made, but it's kind of hard to. That's my place of employment. You know, that's my income. So you know, to have patients come in for care and we're held legally and responsibly for these patients, for them to just put us in a position where we have to choose whether to protect our safety or our career, it's kind of hard. So I don't know what's going to be decided, but just please take into consideration that this is my place of work. And if it had happened to me and who never had an encounter with this patient, just for simply trying to keep the safety of the hallway, and I asked her to remove her cup because the cup was in the middle of the hallway. So being that we have high traffic in the hallway, I didn't want anyone to knock the cup over or to run into it. So for something as simple as that would cause her to attack me, it can most likely happen to anybody else.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Mason. We appreciate it. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 38 years old. She tells me that she suffers from depression, and that is why she was in the hospital for treatment. She's also the mother of several children. She told me there are more than 5 children, most of whom are minors. She also has a hold out of Richmond County. So I would ask the court to give her the signature bond as recommended and release her to that hold, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness. No further contact with Ms. Mason. Stay away from Emory Hospital at 550 Peachtree Street unless she is seeking medical assistance there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Permission to speak, sir?
Ms. Miller, this is only a bond hearing. You have a right to remain silent, and anything you say can be used against you. I just wouldn't want you to say something that's going to we're doing this live on YouTube also. So Ms. McLeod can speak with you if you have any questions for her, but you may not want to say something given that it might be contrary to your interest. Okay, ma'am?
Yes. Also, you got a signature bond, Ms. Mello. And if you have any questions, you can give me a call.
I just want to go back to Gus. That's all I wanted to say.
I said that for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
good luck to you, ma'am. You also, Ms. Mason. Okay, thank you all. I think that concludes the 2 o'clock calendar. And we will see you next time. Thanks, Norris. I appreciate everything today.
Welcome, Judge.
All right, you be safe. Okay, thank you all. We'll see you next time. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.